The quiet mansion of a wealthy millionaire often echoed with silence rather than laughter. Despite his riches, luxury cars, expensive art, and lavish parties, one thing was missing: genuine happiness inside his home. His daughter, a fragile little girl born with a disability, rarely smiled. Her world was filled with loneliness, confined mostly to her room upstairs while her father drowned himself in work and business meetings. He thought money could solve everything, but he didn't realize that what his daughter needed most wasn't luxury, it was love, joy, and companionship. One evening, after returning from a long day of corporate meetings, the millionaire stepped into his grand hallway, expecting the usual stillness. But instead of silence, he heard something unusual: a soft, bubbling sound of laughter. At first, he froze. Laughter was rare in his home. It was a sound that startled him, not because it was unpleasant, but because it was so unfamiliar. He tilted his head, listening more carefully, and realized the sound was coming from upstairs, from the direction of his daughter's room. Heart pounding with curiosity, he climbed the elegant staircase, each step echoing against the marble floor. The closer he got, the clearer the laughter became, joyful, innocent, and mixed with the sound of someone clapping and moving. He pushed open the door, and what he saw left him frozen at the threshold. There, in the middle of the room, his young daughter sat in her wheelchair, her face lit up with the biggest smile he had ever seen. Next to her, the maid who worked in the house was spinning around, dancing with graceful movements, while gently holding his daughter's hands to mimic the dance. The little girl was laughing uncontrollably, her eyes sparkling with happiness as if, for the first time, she had forgotten her struggles. The millionaire's throat tightened. He had never seen his daughter so alive, so full of joy. For years, he had given her everything material: expensive toys, medical treatments, even private tutors, but none of it had ever brought out this pure happiness. And now, here was his maid, a simple woman of modest means, doing something he had never managed to do, making his daughter truly happy. At first, he felt a sting of shame. He realized that in his pursuit of wealth and success, he had neglected the most important bond a father could give: his presence and affection. He had built walls of luxury around his child, but what she really needed was connection. He quietly stepped further into the room, not wanting to interrupt. The maid noticed him and immediately stopped, her face flushing with embarrassment as if she had done something wrong. She bowed her head and began to apologize, but before she could speak, the little girl cried out, "Daddy! Look, I'm dancing." Tears welled up in his eyes. He rushed to her side, kneeling down in front of her wheelchair. "Yes, my angel," he whispered, his voice trembling, "you're dancing, and you're beautiful." He hugged her tightly, something he hadn't done in far too long. In that moment, he understood that money could buy comfort, but it could never buy love or laughter. The maid tried to excuse herself, but the millionaire stopped her. "No," he said gently, "you've given my daughter something priceless today. You've given her joy." He thanked her with sincerity that surprised even himself. That night, he couldn't stop thinking about what he had witnessed. The sound of his daughter's laughter replayed in his mind, and for the first time in years, he felt something shift deep inside his heart. The next morning, instead of rushing off to his office, he stayed home. He went to his daughter's room and asked her if she wanted to dance again. Her eyes lit up, and together, with the maid's help, he learned how to move with her, clapping, twirling, and laughing until his daughter was breathless with joy. The mansion, once cold and silent, began to fill with warmth. Slowly, his life priorities began to change. He still worked, but he no longer spent every waking moment chasing more wealth. Instead, he dedicated time to his daughter, reading to her, playing music, and dancing with her just as the maid had shown him. He began to understand that real success wasn't measured by the balance in his bank account but by the light in his daughter's eyes. As weeks turned into months, the little girl blossomed. Her health improved, not because of doctors or medicine alone, but because of the love and laughter that now surrounded her. The maid continued to be part of their daily lives, becoming more like family than an employee. Together, they created an environment filled with joy, where the little girl never felt alone again. The millionaire, once known for his cold demeanor, became a different man. His business partners noticed he was calmer, kinder, and even more generous. Friends who visited his mansion commented on how alive the house felt. He would smile and say, "It's my daughter. She taught me what really matters." The story of the millionaire and his disabled daughter is a powerful reminder that happiness doesn't come from wealth, status, or possessions. True happiness comes from love, compassion, and simple moments of joy. A child's laughter is worth more than gold, and sometimes, it takes the innocence of a smile to open even the richest heart. The maid's role in this story is just as important. She represents the beauty of humility, kindness, and selflessness. Despite her modest position, she brought more value into that household than all the millionaire's riches combined. She reminded him, Anas, that joy often comes from the simplest acts of love. Every viewer who hears this story can take away a valuable lesson. Perhaps you are chasing after success, working endless hours, believing that money will secure happiness for you and your family. But pause for a moment. Ask yourself, are you giving your loved ones your time, your attention, and your presence? Because at the end of the day, the laughter of those you love will always mean more than any fortune. The millionaire's frozen moment at the door was a turning point, a wake-up call that changed his life forever. It was the day he discovered that his wealth wasn't his greatest treasure. His daughter's laughter was. And so, the mansion that once echoed with emptiness became filled with music, joy, and love. The maid continued to dance with the little girl, the father joined in, and together they built memories that would last a lifetime. The story teaches us that sometimes, miracles aren't grand gestures or extraordinary events. Sometimes, miracles are simply found in laughter, in dancing, and in the bonds of love that connect us all. This tale isn't just about a rich man, a maid, and a child. It's about all of us, about what we choose to value, about how we balance ambition with love, and about how we can find beauty in the simplest of moments. It's a reminder that we don't need to be millionaires to give the most precious gift of all. We only need to be present, compassionate, and willing to share our hearts. So the next time you hear laughter, don't ignore it. Cherish it. Because laughter is the sound of love, the echo of joy, and the music of the soul. Just as the millionaire learned that day when he froze at the sound of laughter upstairs, sometimes the greatest treasures in life are found not in wealth, but in the people who make us feel alive.